There is a major scandal with this administration, and it starts, of course, with Joe Biden and his involvement with Hunter. I don't know why Hunter is even a part of our discussion. He shouldn't be, but he is, because Joe Biden puts him there.
And that is our very own Judge Jeanine Pirro. That was earlier today, as the Justice Department now says the lead attorney in the Hunter Biden investigation is clear to testify at a public hearing before the House Judiciary Committee. New York Post columnist Miranda Devine has been on the story from the very beginning. She is also the author of Laptop from Hell and a Fox News contributor. What do you expect when we finally get to hear from Mr. Archer?
From David Weiss, from the U.S.
David
Attorney
Weiss,
in Delaware?
Yes, all these names, Miranda.
Yeah.
You keep it all straight for us.
Yes. Well, look, I think the main thing we really want to hear from David Weiss is why did he let Hunter Biden off the hook, as the IRS investigators who were on that criminal case for 5 years have alleged. They have testified that the DOJ slow-rolled and obstructed their investigations, wouldn't allow them to get search warrants, for instance, of Hunter Biden's locker or of Joe Biden, a cabin on his property where Hunter Biden was living. And David Weiss, we were told by the Attorney General, had full authority, well, they say ultimate authority about where and when to bring charges. But I think that, again, they're using lawyer speak, because it looks as if ultimate authority is not the same as complete or full authority. And David Weiss what he has said about how much authority he had conflicts with what both the Attorney General said and also what the IRS whistleblower said. So I think it's important that he come before the House and testify alongside those IRS whistleblowers and others in the meeting at which he said that he was powerless to bring these charges.
Well, it looks like the dates available are going to be in the fall, and I think that's kind of when the story is really going to get maybe entering in a new chapter, because Devon Archer is going to be behind closed doors tomorrow. I want to ask you about that in a moment, but the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, he went there. He dropped the I word. Listen.
I believe we will follow this all the way to the end, and this is going to rise to an impeachment inquiry the way the Constitution tells us to do this, and we have to get the answers to these questions. Okay,
I mean, a loaded question here, Miranda, but I just want to show this picture. Devon Archer did a lot of business with Hunter Biden, and Devon Archer was around the Bidens a lot. Here is just one photo now. This is at a golf course out in Southampton, New York. Pascucci is the owner of the course. Next to him, Devon Archer is on the left side, and there's Hunter and his father. Devon Archer apparently has been scheduled to give depositions, but it didn't happen. Like 3 times, but now it will. Do you know what the holdup has been on this?
Look, I think that it's really Devon Archer's lawyer and the House committee have just been toing and froing about dates, you know, who's available and what time. I don't think there's anything nefarious about it. It's now scheduled. It was scheduled for this Monday, then Thursday, and now it's scheduled finally for this coming Monday, July 31st. I think it will happen, and Devon Archer is not volunteered to do this. You know, I'm told that he's not doing this out of revenge or anything. He's just decided to comply with the request from the House committee. He's been at the centre of this story and been talked about non-stop for, you know, 2.5 years. And I think he just wants to clear his name and tell the truth. And the truth that he has to tell is very damaging to Joe Biden, because, of course, Joe Biden's always maintained that he knew nothing about his son Hunter's overseas business dealings. And we've reported about the numerous meetings, at least a dozen of Hunter's business partners who Joe Biden met, including at a restaurant in Georgetown. He's had 2 dinners with Ukrainians and Russians and Kazakhstanis and people that Hunter and his family were getting millions of dollars from. And now Devon Archer says there were also up to 24 speakerphone calls that Joe Biden was dialed in by Hunter to speak to those business partners.
But Joe Biden has denied that. Let's listen to that again.
How many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings.
Did Hunter Biden commit a crime? Have you spoken to your son, Mr. President-elect?
Probably my son.
Are you confident your son Hunter did nothing
I'm confident.
You still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation at a smear campaign, like you said?
Yes, yes, yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony.
Miranda, do you think that line will hold?
No, and already it's changed. You heard the White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday has just changed the language. She said, oh, I've said this a million times and the answer remains the same, but the answer was completely different. It's now, the president is not in business with his son. Very different from saying, I know nothing about my son's overseas business dealings. So I think that it's overwhelming, the evidence already on the table and about to be told by Devon Archer, that Joe Biden was meeting with Hunter Biden's overseas business partners, and that, of course, was incredibly important to what Hunter Biden's business was, which was selling influence of his father, then the vice president.
Thank you, Miranda. Archer faces jail time for fraud to the tune of $60 million. Age 48, I think American public at some point very soon we're going to hear from him directly. When that happens, I do not know. Thank you for your time, Miranda.
Good to have you. Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.